Thanksgiving,
Christmas.
Valentine's Day.
All right.
Yeah.
It's nice watch.
Yeah.
What kind of watch that is?
Relic.
All right.
Never heard of it before, but it is a nice watch.
Tell Chelsea I want one.
She probably upstairs listening, so. She was asking me, hey, is Doug already farming the hemp and cutting it? And I don't know, when I told you a couple of years ago, he was doing. Yeah. So it's 7:00, so we can go ahead and get it. Has it popped up on your phone yet?
Let me see. Y'all mind I drink some coffee, right? Keep me up.
No,
it haven't popped up on my phone yet.
You on our page though, right?
I'm on your page.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. We can go ahead and get started. But when we're gonna go ahead and get started, Doug, and when it pops up, then you know what to do.
Okay.
Peace, beautiful people. It's your boy Dev and DP. We are back in the DP Lounge, the C&D Lounge.
The C&D Lounge.
The C&D Lounge. DP did the work, but this is the C&D Lounge.
She did the design and stuff.
Shout out to Chelsea.
Yeah.
She is definitely the straw that stirs this drink here. Anyway, let's start that over. Peace, beautiful people. It's your boy Dev. That's DP. This is Real Talk with DP and Dev. We are back in the C&D Lounge. We just thank you for another opportunity for us to chop it up and share with y'all. This show is brought to you by Independent Capital Group. Look, if you're looking to invest in real estate, or you're even looking to go ahead and improve your credit, in some instances, before you can invest in real estate, you need to have your credit improved. Independent Capital Group is here to do that. Independent Capital Group has trained professionals that can help you with your investment needs, but also lead you down the road to financial freedom and also credit repair and credit restoration.
And on top of that, you want to buy a car, you want to, do anything that you want to get credit cards, you want to establish your credit. Even if you're not thinking about getting into the investment game, if you're trying to buy a house to live in, you and your family, you got to get your credit straight.
Unless you got straight cash. Straight cash is great.
I mean, and even rich folks, they still use credit. Donald Trump's still borrowing money to build stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you got credit is one of the pillars of your financial future. You know what I'm saying? You got to have that part of your foundation. Yeah.
So Independent Capital Group is here to help you with that. Investment needs, credit needs. For more information, go to Independent Capital ATL. Again, that's independentcapitalatl.com. Independent Capital Group, Black owned for Black people who want to make green money. So today we have none other than the gentleman, Doug Fields.
The superstar.
Former board member of community-owned Federal Credit Union in Charleston, South Carolina, one of the oldest Black-owned institutions, financial institutions, not only in South Carolina, but probably in the United States. Doug is going to talk to us about a multitude of things from Black finance, Black banking, but he also is a hemp farmer, as well as a real estate investor. So we're just going to chop it up. He's going to give some free games, some gems to those who are looking to endeavor in any of those business ventures. And we just gonna have a good time. Doug, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. I thank y'all guys for having me on the show. Don't know why y'all want me on the show.
Yeah, you the man behind the myth, man. I was saying everybody want to know. You know what I'm saying?
Usually what happens is we've talked about Black finance and financial freedom. We've talked about real estate, but the thing we haven't spoken about yet, which is interesting to the both of us, is the hemp farming, especially with not only the CBD boom, but also the cannabis boom that is eventually going to be legal in all of the United States. So we are, we're ready to learn just like our viewers. So before we even get started, it's customary for our guests to go ahead and give a toast. So we are going to give you the floor, man. You can toast to whatever you want to.
I'm going to toast that this interview goes smooth. And hopefully I can teach folks some things.
Definitely.
Thank you guys for having me on the show.
Thank you for being there. Salute.
To you, brother.
So, Doug, again, you graduated from South Carolina State, Dev, myself, so we all South Carolina State alumni. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to SC State.
Yeah, shout out to HBCU. And I can remember. Because you graduated before me. I can remember coming home to Charleston, and we would stop on what's that? Cummings, Spring Street.
I'm in the Spring Street.
Yeah, and you were working at the seafood market there, but that was your dad's spot.
Yeah.
And not only did you guys own the seafood market, you guys own the building too.
Yeah. Well, on Spring Street, my dad owns baby, sweetie, go all the way back. Sorry, fella.
It's all right. Listen, it's real.
Yeah.
It's live.
Exactly. It's all right. It's real talk. Let's go.
My dad was buying properties when downtown Charleston was majority black. When I said majority black, I'm talking about 80% of downtown Charleston was black when my dad was buying property.
Yeah.
My dad told me a story back in the 70s when they would go to the auction. It might be 6 black guys. And, Delonte, I might want to bid on 20 Spring Street. You might want to bid on number 3 Cannon Street. So we'd talk it out. So nobody would bid against the next one. So my dad would get a whole building for about $2,500 to $3,000.
Really?
Wow.
If my dad knows what he knows now, he could have owned triple amount of property he owns now. But nobody knows today that Charleston was going to turn
Into what it
to
is.
Charleston of today. And I guess I could relate it to Harlem. You know, when they said Harlem was the slums in the 60s and 70s, but today rich people live in Harlem.
Right.
Today downtown Charleston, if you don't have money, you can't live downtown Charleston.
Well, that's one of that's one of the biggest tourist attractions. I have family that lives on James Island, so when we go, to visit, it's just we there to chill out. But for people who don't have any family in Charleston, they're going down there to vacation, and one of the biggest attractions when you go down to Charleston is downtown.
Yeah, and like I said, why I stepped in that, once I graduated from South Carolina State, all my dad apartments, and my dad has about 30 units along with commercial property. And that, I told my dad, because majority of our apartments were Section 8. And once I started seeing Charleston turning, y'all know what I mean by turning.
Gentrification.
Gentrification.
Exactly. So, I told my dad, we got to turn too. Either we gonna step up, or we're gonna have to sell what we own. And thank God my dad listened to me. So right now, I manage my dad's commercial properties along with his residential property.
Right.
And
all still in downtown area.
All downtown area. Like my dad said, my mom died in '93. When my mom died, everything we had was Section 8.
Right.
And when I stepped in the 2000s and took it over, because when I was growing up, Delonte, the only source of advertisement was the Post and Courier. My dad would,
the newspaper.
Yeah, the newspaper. My dad would write me a check, and they would run a deal on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we would advertise the apartment. A Section 8 apartment, 3-bedroom, $500. We accepted Section 8, and that was all our apartments. And once we started seeing gentrification happening, and I stepped up to the plate, and just took over all my dad's apartments. And today, at least I know on Spring Street, we are the, we own more property on Spring Street than any other black person in Charleston.
So basically, next time we link up, lunch on you then.
Hey, if you need it, I got it. Hey, Delonte tell you I'm not gonna volunteer though.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but the beautiful thing about that is your dad, and not only your dad, but you both had the foresight, because like you said, you purchased property on Spring Street, when it was pennies on the dollar. But now, and what it's worth now is phenomenal.
Spring Street is almost like Peachtree or Piedmont.
Right. That's
what I'm saying. It's the main thoroughfare coming from downtown.
You got Spring Street, and then don't you have, like, King Street is one?
Yeah, King Street is more like Peachtree. Spring Street is more like Piedmont, or what I'm saying. But you have that, and especially now, if you moved away from Charleston 20 years ago and you go back today and you've never been since then,
right?
It's a
you
whole
wouldn't recognize it.
Yeah.
Not recognized.
You had Back to Green across the way, and Back to Green was the hood. You know, there's projects.
Yeah.
And now it's back to. I know it's not Back to Green, but is those apartments still there? Are they tore it down?
No, Back to Green is still there. You know, Delonte, I remember growing up, you know, I didn't have the type of father that took me fishing or take me to ball games.
Right.
You know, growing up, my dad was the type, I remember, you know, as a little boy, my dad had a laundromat. He had a liquor store. Back in the day, people used to sew their own clothing. So he used to have a place called a fabric shop. He used to have a little burger joint called the Burger Hut. All this on Spring Street.
So he was just about to grind, you know.
My dad was an entrepreneur. I used to see my dad, and I grew up in the house with my dad. My dad would leave early in the morning and come back late at night. And you know, coming up, you know, a lot of kids say, you know, you spell love Time, but you know, I saw my dad grind. My dad grind.
Right.
You know, right now I grind. And if you talk to any of my kids, you know, they'll tell you, you know, my dad works hard, and I in the blood, because you know, right now my full-time job, you know, I work for CSX, the railroad. I've been doing that for 21.
Railroad company, yeah.
Yeah, I'm an operations manager there, and I've been doing that for 21 years. On the side, I do real estate.
Right.
I flip houses. You know, I have flipped houses in Berkeley County, Charleston County, Dorchester County. Then also help my dad with his real estate. Also, my family got over 100-acre farm on Johns Island.
And it's 100 acres out there?
Yeah, over 100 acres.
Damn.
So 3 years ago, Governor McMaster started a hemp pilot program just to see where it would go. And I was at my office just scrolling through online, reading the newspaper, and I saw that. So all of a sudden, you know, I thought about it. I said, you know what? All my dad, brothers and sisters, they're getting older. We got this farm. What's going to happen to the farm once they die?
Right.
Are we going to sell the farm?
You're going to
Somebody
divide it up.
put a bunch of residents?
Yeah.
Try to keep the farm thriving.
Right. Or
So,
people want to come through like Queen Sugar and try to take it.
Exactly. Try to take it. So, you know, I went on to apply for the license, and at first he issued 20 permits, and I got denied. But then he added another 10, and the Department of Agriculture reached out to me and asked me if I was still interested, and I said, yeah. Didn't know what I was going to do with this hemp license, but you know, I applied for it and I got it, and with the grace of God, you know, I just ran into some right people. You know, the word started spreading that, you know, Doug Fields got his hemp license, and you know, a good friend of mine, he's a good friend now, but you know, he went to school with you, Delonte, Harold Singletary. He reached out to me, and he's at Brightmore Farms, and I've been doing business with Harold ever since. So he was kind of guiding me, because Harold has a team. He has a team of people, and they were kind of guiding me. You know, we have the soil to grow it, and you know, this is my third year. I just left Columbia today. You know, I paid my permit fees and everything, and I'll be planting again this year.
So it's interesting because
take off.
I'm sorry, I was going to say it's interesting because I think I remember you telling me the story about how it happened. Like, oh shoot, I didn't even think about it anymore because, you know, you got denied. So it was like you just kept going on with your life, and out of nowhere it was like, hey, are you interested?
Yeah. And like I said, Dev, one thing, you got to persevere. You know, my father always tell me you got to have multiple streams of income.
Right.
And that's why, you know, I admire Delonte a lot, because, you know, I remember this, and Delonte probably remember when I was in another division for the railroad. I used to go to Atlanta like every week.
Yeah.
And I just admired Delonte push, how he, you know, was buying properties. And I said, Delonte, you're doing the right thing. He was buying properties around the air base where Tyler Perry has his studios.
Yeah.
And I was telling Delonte, I said, you know what, these properties are gonna be worth some money because it's so close to downtown.
I remember that.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah.
Just like Charleston. You know, I have a lot of young guys come to me and be like, you know, Doug, I want to get into real estate. You know, where do I buy? So, you know, I tell them, I said, why don't you go to Dorchester Wayland? They said, no, I don't want to go. That's the hood. I said, you got to realize from the Wayland to downtown Charleston is 8 to 10 minutes.
Right.
So if you buy in the Wayland or someplace close to downtown, in the next 5 or 10 years, those houses you pay 120, 150,000 for is gonna be worth 300,000.
Right.
Everybody want to be close to downtown Charleston.
Yeah.
So what they're doing, they're pushing us farther and farther outside of Charleston.
Right.
And my dad always tell me, my dad said, Doug, if it wasn't for you, I would have to sell these properties because I haven't been keeping up with technology. My dad was the landlord and knock on your door and say, I'm here to pick up rent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He old school. He just old school like that. Yeah.
Now all my tenants pay me through Venmo, Zelle, Cash App.
Mm-hmm.
Once a month, I go to my dad and I write him one check.
That's what's up.
Because he's not up with technology.
Yeah.
With the grace of God, this Thursday my dad will be 80 years old.
Man.
It's beautiful.
And I was asked Dad, I said, Dad, what made you buy property? Because my dad, old school. My dad said, I'm not gambling in the stocks, but he said, I know one thing: God is not making no more land.
Right.
So he said, when you acquire land, hold on to it. And that's what I've been doing, Def. Sometimes you run into people in distress.
Yeah.
And they got to sell.
Yeah.
And I don't beat them out their land. I give them a fair price, but I hold on to it.
So let me ask you about that. So when you when you go into buying the land, are you doing it like wholesaling, or are you actually going, or do you know like this person may be like upside down on the water? You're like, look, I'm trying to give you a deal to get out of this.
I'm gonna tell you, with the grace of God, the land that I own right now, and I own several acres. When I say several acres, I probably own close to probably 40 acres. Majority of the folks come to my dad. My dad is pretty well known. They want to sell, especially when they know they're about to lose the land. They come to my dad, and my dad always tell me, Doug, be fair with them. Be fair with them because right now they're under distress and they're about to lose their land. So, the land I got now, I buy and I hold on to it. And I always talk to my kids. Right now, my older kids, they're doing their own thing in the rural. I got a son in Atlanta. I got a daughter in Houston, and I got another daughter in Tennessee. But hopefully, one of them will come back to Charleston and say, Dad, we like to know what you're doing.
Right.
Because I'm my dad's baby boy. And hopefully one of my kids will come in and pick it up and run with the torch. Because I don't want something to happen to me. Then you go down Spring Street, all you see is a bunch of for sale signs.
Yeah.
And that's crazy because, I have that same wish for my son. So he's trying to find his own way right now. And you don't understand it because you're trying to you pave this path that you can make it much easier for them in life, but they choose to take the route with the most friction. You know what I'm saying?
But you got to realize, Delonte, our kids are still young. I remember when I was in my teens and 20s, I'm thinking about Freaknik and Black College Union. I'm not thinking about no property. I'm thinking about having fun, and that's where our kids is at right now. You got to think about when we were young, and I'm serious. Now, and I'm trying to get focused.
Yeah,
right.
I'm trying to, a lot of kids like your kids and my kids, Delonte, don't have a parent to pave a road for them.
Mm-hmm.
Delonte, you pave your own road. My dad,
my dad and my mom just did a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I can't take all the credit. You know what I'm saying? My especially in the city of Atlanta, my dad, he was a kind of a heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? So he made a lot because of him. A lot of things was a little bit easier, but he also made a lot of things much harder. Also, you know what I'm saying?
What was some of the things that was easier?
Like, for instance, if I go to City Hall and I need something done, I can reach out to some folks that knew him,
right,
and be like, okay, yeah, you Melvin Collins' son. You know what I'm saying? Come on. I can go in the back office versus I have to sit at the front desk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Waiting on folks. Without permits now, there is no City Hall. Everything is closed. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have that privilege no more. Because I remember you telling me, Doug, one time your dad told you never always go into the bank. Never go to the drive-through because you want to meet those tellers so they can see your face, so they can get in a relationship. And I remember it was probably about 10 years ago, 11 years ago. First time we were doing real estate, we were doing a lot of cash was flowing. And I remember I left my debit card, my wallet at the house, but I was going in the bank so much, they knew me.
Yeah.
So I would just go and withdraw like 20 grand with no ID, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? Just because the relationship. I remember Doug telling me, his old man said, always go inside. And now they don't want to come inside.
And Dave, what's so funny about it? I remember my dad said, I forgot where we were going at. My dad said, I need to go by the bank to make a deposit. And it's been in the 90s. I'm young. So I pull up. I'm going. He said, where you going? So I'm going to the drive-thru. My dad said, no. Going to the bank. So I pulled up. I'm sitting there. My dad said, jump out. So I jump out and go in the bank. And I say, everybody, how you doing, Mr. Fields? How you doing? Like, dang, is my dad a celebrity?
Yeah.
But my dad kept it real. And my dad said, these people at the bank don't like me because of who I am. They like me because of what I got and what I own.
Right. Right.
And he said, you always look them in the face. You always, I used to always go to the teller, and like Delonte said, like right now, every time I go to the bank, after, pre-COVID, I jump out and people know me firsthand. Just like Delonte, if I got to cash a check, I don't pull out no ID. I mean, they know me. Right. They know who my father is. They know me. They're like, okay, you need to cash this check. And and for the younger folks who's watching this, go in the bank and meet the people, because you might just need a car loan. Let them see your face. If if they see this person coming to the bank twice a month, they know your face. Versus, you always go to the bank and do a drive the window. Then one day, you need a loan and you pop up, and they're like, "Well, who's this guy? We never seen him."
Right.
So by my dad telling me that, now I told Delonte, not only Delonte, I tell a lot of my friends, a lot of my frat brothers, go into the bank and get to know him. Like I said, my dad will be 80 Thursday, and this, I like talking to older folks. Talking to my, my granddad, my grandfather died at 94, and just picking his brain, about the struggles he had. And I was on the board of a CO Federal Credit Union, and I remember my dad told me his first piece of property that he wanted to buy, he got out the Air Force. And he got the Air Force in 65. And my dad said, he said, man, I had $8,000 saved up. And he said, 1965, that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And he said on the corner spring and coming, they wanted 16,000. He said, I had half of the money. He went to CNS Bank. It was a bank called CNS. And Delonte, you probably remember CNS. Yeah. Then I went to CNS and he had $8,000, and he tried to borrow $8 to, buy this building. And they denied him. And it was a guy by the name of Mr. Esau Jenkins who helped my dad. It was CNO Federal Credit Union, a black bank, and they helped my dad come up with the other 8,000 to buy it. So, back in the 60s, they didn't care if you have money. They weren't going to lend you no money.
Yeah.
And I said, I've been on the bank board, over 17 years. This year, I came off the board, due to different reasons, but the bank's still in existence, and the bank is still strong. So so to all the listening people, go to CNO Federal Credit Union and open up a bank account.
What's the full name of the credit union?
Citizens Own Credit Union.
Where is it located?
It's on the corner of Spring and Rutledge Avenue, and the building that is one of the buildings that my dad owned. So it's one of my dad's commercial properties. My dad, he got several commercial properties around that.
That's what's up, Dad. I wasn't expecting that one.
Let's take a shout out Pop.
Yeah. Big Fields.
Yeah.
Shout out Big Fields.
But I'm telling you, but my dad always raised me, and if anybody on this, Facebook or live know me, I'm a very humble person. I'm quiet. I don't say much. I don't tell people what my dad got, because you know why? It's what my dad got.
Yeah.
What I got is what I got.
Right.
And like I said, I just try to help my dad maintain keep them up to date on the new technology.
Mhm.
My dad still walk around with a flip phone. I said, Dad, let me get you an Android and let me teach you. I told my dad,
man.
I'm gonna tell you this, and this is a true story. I don't know if my cousin's watching. My granddad was 90 years old,
Mhm.
and my cousin D taught him how to use an iPhone. My granddad knew how to FaceTime at 90.
Really?
You know how to text at 90. And my dad at the time was in 70s. My dad just stubborn. My dad say, anytime somebody asks him for email address, he said, let me call my son. My dad would call me and say, Doug, give this person your email address. He has to email me some papers. I'm like, Dad, you gotta get your own email address. My dad, that's what I got you for.
But it's something to be said about the fact that your dad spent that much time and put so much in place. So, and as old as he is, he's still moving and shaking. But he knows that at some point in time, he got to relinquish everything to you and your brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And like I said, my dad is all about family. But his brothers and sisters, nieces and nephews, grandkids, he's all about family. He never was a selfish person. If you see my dad, you'd be like, I feel I don't have nothing. I mean, my dad is not a flashy person. He's dressed down. I mean, if you see my dad out in public, you'll be like,
No, when we see you, you got the $200 shirts on, everything else. But
hey, I take that after my mom.
I'm trying to look good. You feel good, huh?
Hey, tomorrow ain't promised. I'm living for today.
Well, let me add this to it because DP doesn't know this, but now that you brought it up, I do admire the both of you, gentlemen, in terms of what your parents or your dads in particular has been able to kind of lay out for you guys to take over. For me, that wasn't the case. My dad passed away at a very young age, but even beyond that, he didn't have that entrepreneurial spirit to be able to put those things in motion. He was a hustler. He was out there in the streets slinging drugs on the corner, but wasn't one of those type of things.
Now, when my dad, I guess his gift to me was relationships and the fact that I saw him be an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. But now when he died, he didn't leave anything, man. So right. I mean, I didn't get $100,000, $1 million inheritance or these, properties, this, that, and the other, right. Because I guess some people think they have more time. You know what I'm saying? They just think they have more time.
But Delonte, could I chime in? I beg to differ. He didn't leave you $100,000, but guess what he left you? The knowledge.
Yeah.
To make that $100,000. Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to instill on my kids. I don't want to leave them.
Gotta leave them something.
I want to leave them that knowledge that they can pass on. Now, it's good if I can leave that $1 million, but imagine if I leave that $1 million and you got the knowledge to make that $1 million into $2 million or $10 million.
Right.
Yeah.
So much people don't teach their kids. They give them the fish, but they don't teach them how to fish.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that's what I want to teach my kids. I want to teach them how to make the money, because I can have which I got, good insurance. I can leave them, a big insurance policy, but if they don't do right with the money, what good is the money?
Right.
But if I can teach them what to do with the money, then I left them something.
Right. Yeah.
Like me and my dad always talk. I'm trying to leave a legacy. I want this money to go on 100 years from now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you a story, Dev. My wife works for a doctor.
Okay.
And I was talking to the doctor one day, and he's in his 60s. Now listen to this closely. He's in his 60s. He told me his grandfather was a doctor.
Right.
Listen to what I'm saying. I don't know if y'all comprehend what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
He's in the 60s and his grandfather was a doctor. My grandfather had a 4th grade education. So what I'm trying to say is somebody taught him what to do with money. My granddad had a 4th grade education. My granddad told me, Delonte, in the 50s, he could buy 5 acres of land on Kiowa Beach
Really?
for $3,000.
Really?
Guess my granddad say. And he told me this. He said he went out there. He's like, I can't farm in this beach sand. So
Yeah.
because of his lack of education, imagine if my granddad had bought that 5 acres for $3,000 on Kiowa.
Yeah.
My family would be set. But because of his lack of education, he did not know. He did not know better. Versus, this doctor who grandfather was a doctor who went to Dartmouth, who told his son what to do with money, who told his son what to do with money. And that's why legacies are built. A lot of people like, why Black people are struggling. A lot of Black people, and I still see on the news, are first time this, first time that. I was looking at 60 Minutes. I record 60 Minutes every Sunday. And the Black 4-star general who's over the military now. He said when him and his staff dress down and they go out and people want to meet the general, they don't walk up to him.
Yeah.
They want to meet the general, but they don't walk up to him. And like I said, we still have a long way to go, but if we can start and grow something like Delonte, you grown something. And like I said, your son right now is young. Hopefully when he get 25 or 30, something gonna click. Like, you know what? My dad owned all these houses. Let me see how he did this. Let me see what he did to sustain this. To make it grow. So hopefully, the 10 to 15 houses you and Chelsea own, he can make them 30 to 40. And I know along the way you flip some because you need that cash, that flowing cash to come in. Like my dad said, you don't want to go to the bank for everything.
Yeah.
But you got to have that stream coming in. And like I said, that's what my dad taught me. Coming up, I always wish I had a dad to take me fishing. To take me to the football games. But I had a dad teach me about business. And as I got older, I appreciate that. When I was in my teens and 20s, I used to always be like, I wish my dad was like Tony dad. Take fishing, taking crabbing. Because when you're young, you want to have fun. But I had the dad always talking business to me. And I didn't appreciate that probably till I hit 35, 40, tell you the truth.
So do you find yourself trying to instill that into your children?
Yeah, but I don't think my kids understand it yet.
Okay.
They want the father, and then tell you the truth, I try to tweak it a little bit.
Okay.
I try to be both. I try to be the father to take my sons to the baseball game.
Yeah.
I try to be the father just to take my kids one-on-one. Sometimes they want that one-on-one time to dinner.
Yeah.
I talk to my daughters. I tell them how a man should treat them. And, things that my dad didn't do that I wanted, I try to still do that for them, but also teach them about business.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and that's great. You know what I'm saying? So, and a lot of things and you are a very private person and you keep a lot of stuff close to the vest, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the stuff that you've been doing, I found out from talking in the recent years. And another accomplishment that Doug, I gotta give a shout out to Doug, is that Doug is one of the reasons me and Chelsea are married right now.
That's
you know what I'm saying? Doug got me back in contact with Chelsea. You know what I'm saying? 5, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, me and Delonte was hanging out, and all of a sudden Delonte like, Doug, how Chelsea doing? I said, I don't know, but her friend Sharon told me she's doing good. So he told me, like, think you can get that phone number from me? Like, I got to call Sharon and see. I called Sharon. Sharon like, I'm not giving you that number. I got to call Chelsea and see if it's okay to give Delonte the number. And the rest is history. And it went down just like that.
Yeah.
You knew you had to get right, huh?
Yeah, I had to get right. You know what I'm saying? I had to get right. But if it wasn't for Doug coming to Atlanta that weekend, I don't know if it would have worked out the way it worked out. You know what I'm saying? Because it was Doug and you and Gerald came together.
Yeah, me and Gerald. Me and Gerald Johnson. Yep.
Yes. So Gerald stayed at Spotty house, and then Doug stayed with me that week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
So Doug, let me ask you this question. You don't apply to be on the board. You don't
How
ask to be on the board. You know,
how do you become a board member on a bank? Right.
Let me tell you what happened.
Was it?
No, what happened? My dad went to start another bank.
Okay.
Your dad went to start another bank.
So he went to start another bank. Him and some ministers and some other people went to start another black-owned bank. It wasn't a credit union. They went to start a black bank. So it was a conflict of interest, him being on 2 bank boards.
Oh, so your dad was on the bank board already for the bank to begin with?
Yeah. So all of a sudden, my dad calls me. He didn't ask me. My dad said, "I'm about to nominate you to be on CO Federal Credit Union board." So I said, "Dad, I don't want to be on the board. I'm in my 30s." He said, "I'm not asking you. You need to learn the bank. I'm gonna put your name in the hat. And you can be on this bank board." So I'm like, "Okay, Dad." And he put me on the bank, and I'm glad he did that. Sometimes our minds not, but I wasn't focused in life. I'm about having a good time, and my dad kind of kept me focused. I remember when I came out of college, I still got that college mentality. So I came home and until the next morning, my mom, like, Frederick, this ain't gonna work. Doug got to get out of this house. So my dad, like, what? I got this apartment. You can move in this apartment because you're about to give your mom a heart attack coming in the house 4 or 5 in the morning. So I moved into the house. So I'm living in one of my dad's apartments. And then all of a sudden, this house came up. And my dad, like, you need to go ahead and buy the house. And at the time, I was driving a 3 Series BMW. I'm like, Dad, I don't want to buy the house. I'm about to trade. I want to get this 5 Series BMW. My dad, like, you can buy this effing house. You're talking about buying cars. Cars depreciate. You need to buy this house. So he made me buy the house, and the rest, was history. And he made me realize, what? I'm living for the public eye. Dev, I want to get back in the day, I got a BMW. I got a motorcycle all tricked out. I'm living, people see Doug, oh, Doug got money. But my dad said, his son is not about that. You live in paycheck to paycheck, spending your money in clothes and cars. You don't have nothing. And I remember my dad being like, well, how much money you got in your savings? When I told him, he said, that's it. And I'm like that with my kids. I'm like, how much are you contributing to your 401k? Why are you only contributing that to your 401k? And I'm like that with my kids today because of my dad. If it wasn't for my dad, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And like I said, I talked to Delonte, I talked to Greg, we call him Pete. We share each other's stories, whether it's good or bad. And, we try to help one another. And Delonte know, if he pick up the phone and say, Doug, do you know somebody can help me with this, or could you help me with this? If I can't help, I call my dad. Hey, Daddy, my good friend Delonte needs this. Could you help him with this? And my dad has helped several of my friends just by guiding them and sending them to a certain bank. My dad don't bank with the Wachovias and the Wells Fargos. He bank with locally owned banks that he knows the CEOs personally. So when he go get a loan, he don't go through all that paperwork.
Yeah.
And that's why my dad always tell me, you go in the bank and look a person in the face and you get to know him. And like I said,
that's major, Doug. Because the average person, not only black person, the average person can't do that. So they haven't developed those relationships or had nobody to have those relationships that can put them in those positions to do that.
The funny thing is, Delonte is not talking about himself. He should be talking about himself in that regard too, because he has that type of relationship with one of the hard money lenders that he gets his deals with.
Because they make a lot of money off the deals. I mean, they're doing it because of me, but at the same token, they're looking at the bottom line too. I was saying so.
You know what? You can continue to say yourself short if you want to, but somebody got to say something and produce for them to feel enough for them to even be able to give you what they give.
We're not talking about me today, though. We're talking about that.
We're talking about everybody. It's real talk.
But Delonte, I mean, you are doing well in life, and it's good that people know that. You know, and you think about it, we all graduate from HBCUs.
Yeah, South Carolina State.
You know, all my life, I went to private school because, and people are like, why you never went to school on Johns Island? I wanted to go to school on Johns Island, but my dad always had several businesses downtown.
Right.
And I would have been a latchkey kid. So all my life I went to private school. So I always remember this. I went to talk to the guidance counselor. I was in 11th grade about what colleges I want to go to. So off the rip, I'm naming A&T, Howard, Claflin. That lady like, why you want to apply to those schools?
Right.
You need to apply to the Citadel or Clemson. I'm like, no, these are schools I want to go to. So when I told my mom, you know what she said, my mom like, you know what, I made you go to, the private schools, and you gave me H about going to private schools. You can go to what college you want to go to. I mean, she always tell me, Doug, is how you apply yourself.
Yeah.
Right now at CSX, I manage people who went to Clemson. I manage people who went to USC.
Right.
I manage people who went to Citadel. But it's all how you apply yourself. And it's all, like I said again, it's how you apply yourself.
I get it because I'm paraphrasing, but 50 Cent said a quote. He said, I didn't go to Harvard, or he didn't go to one of the Ivy League schools, but he hires them. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
How do those white boys and girls who went to those predominantly white schools feel about this HBCU graduate?
No, I mean, I'm cool with them, man, because we don't. When I get with classmates, we don't talk about what we went to school. We talk about family. What you're doing in life today. We don't talk about you went to that school, what you learned. I'm so proud of South Carolina State University. If I had to do it all over again, Delonte, I would do it over again 100 times. Mm-hmm. I'm proud of South Carolina State, and I can't give it enough praise. And I haven't been to a lot of alumni association meetings, but guess what? Ever since I graduated, I've been sending money, and I've been financial, in the alumni association. Thanks to Vermel Brown. I don't know if she's watching this, but at one time she was the alumni national president, and me and her go to Wesley Church, so she would make sure I always pay my alumni dues.
Yeah.
And today, I pay my dues like clockwork. And if more people give back to HBCUs, we won't be struggling as much.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I think I got financial a couple of years ago. I think I always get these emails from Keisha Berry. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I get it from Keisha Berry too. Never met Keisha Berry, but I get emails from her, and when they ask for money, I send my money.
Yeah.
As well as the fraternity. I was telling a lot of guys, they want to pledge Omega.
Omega Sci-Fi. Shout out to the Omega Sci-Fi fraternity incorporated.
Incorporated too. Let's not forget the brothers. All right? I'm tired of y'all teaming up on me. All right.
But Delonte, like I said,
I see.
You'll find me. But I always tell the younger brothers, you just don't want the players to come to the parties.
Yeah.
We are an organization for the community. And if I don't give my time, I give my dime.
Yeah.
And Delonte, you got years in the fraternity just like me. I got 27 years in the fraternity. Still financial. I'm a life member. And I'm whenever the bosses call me and say, Doug, I need XYZ, I do XYZ.
No doubt.
Nobody forced me to join Omega Sci-Fi.
No.
This was a choice,
Yeah, and it was a privilege.
a privilege. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, but everybody see especially when you undergrad, so everybody see the glitz, the glamour, and everybody want to be around. It's a social event almost. You know what I'm saying? When you out on the yard and this, that, and the other, but it's another side to it that is more business-like.
Yeah. Yeah. I did a lot of networking with Omega Sci-Fi. I have some brothers who reached out to me in the hemp farming. The word spread that Doug is a hemp farmer, and I just tell the guys what I know. I don't have the big contracts as of yet, but
All right, you're gonna get them.
I reach back and try to pull somebody along with me.
Right.
Let me ask you this, Doug.
Yeah, go ahead.
Since you have a license, can you kind of bring other people who got land who want to farm it under your license and make that profitable for both of you guys?
The first year you could do that, but now nobody else can farm under my license but me, unless certain occasions you can get a waiver. But they made it known today. Like with Delonte, you gotta a tract of land. They were saying somebody out there, this is to make sure you do have that tract of land that's farmable. Before you apply for your permit. But
let me ask you this then. I mean, because what my old man did teach me is that white folks always put some stuff in the game that makes it a little bit harder. But you read the fine print, there's a way around it.
Right.
So let's say the land may or may not be valuable as is because we're not farming the land. It's just sitting there. So I make you a co-owner of the land. Now you own the land. So now can you farm the land that you co-own as a hemp farmer?
No, I'm gonna tell you from my experience, because see, what made it easy for me, Delonte, is my family already had an established farm.
Okay.
What you saying is a tract of land never been farmed. So I don't want to jump the gun and say, yeah, I would have to do some research on that. See, my granddad already had an established farm. My uncle Joseph Fields, he's the first organic farmer in the state of South Carolina. No, that's Joseph. That's Tunk's younger brother.
Okay.
That's my dad's baby brother. So if you go in the Smithsonian in DC, and when you go up to Current, you will see a sign that says Joseph Fields Farm. The reason why his name is in the Smithsonian, because in South Carolina, he's the first organic farmer, and he's a black man. Yeah, that's my dad's.
You be having all these secrets, man. You be having all these secrets.
well, Delonte, I pretty much keep to myself. And if any of my classmates know, this is probably the most they ever heard me talk.
Right. Well, we appreciate you using our platform to do it.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't even know my dad. My dad is the oldest brother. He's the oldest Fields, but everybody know his brothers. My uncle Robert, my uncle Joseph. But when they say Frederick, they're like, well, we don't know him, because my dad never was in farming. When my dad graduated, my dad had a scholarship to Morris College, a full scholarship. He went to Morris College for 1 year, and he saw my grandmother and grandfather struggling to send him stuff, send him money and other things. So my dad took the test to get in the military. My dad tested high enough to get in the Air Force. Now, I don't know if you can see this picture behind me right here. This is my dad Air Force picture. Okay. It's black and white. So my dad tested high enough to get in the Air Force. And in my dad Air Force graduating class, it was just 2 black guys. So I guess back in the 50s, so I guess majority of people were going into the Marine. Black guys was going to Marines in the Army, but my dad got into the Air Force. He did 8 years in the Air Force, and I don't know if y'all heard the story that my dad had $8,000 to put down on the Corner Spring Cup.
Yeah.
So every month, my dad would get paid in the Air Force. My dad said he would get paid $117. Out the $117, he was sending $50 home to my grandmother. My dad did 8 years in the Air Force. So once my dad came out of the Air Force, my granddad said, okay, you're going to take over the family farm. My dad like, no, I'm gonna go into business for myself.
Right.
So my granddad like, what type of business you going into? My dad's like, I don't know. But my dad, he had up to here with farming. My dad said, farming was so hard.
Mhm.
So my grandma called my dad in the room and said, they called my dad Peter. And she said, Peter, I got a bag for you. So she gave my dad a brown bag. Every month he was sending $50 home to help my grandmother out and my grandfather out. And my grandma would save that money. When my granddad came out the airport, she gave my dad over $8,000. That's the $8,000 he had to put down on the corner of Spring and Cumming Street.
Nice.
So my dad not only owns the whole corner of Spring and Cumming, when you go to corner of Spring and Rutledge Avenue, he owns all that too. So and I always ask my dad, I'm like, I'm talking about somebody in the 20s. When I've been in my 20s, man, I'm thinking about having fun.
You was out there in the streets.
My dad was buying property.
You gloss over that, but let me bring that back to, and let's put that in perspective.
Right.
Those two corners are $1 million corners.
I don't like to talk about money. Let's change the subject.
Well, hey, let me ask you a question. We still gonna talk about money, but we gonna switch gears.
I ain't just gonna not talk about that. I mean, I'm just talking about public record.
Because tomorrow I'm gonna start getting calls. And people I'm sitting on this $1 million.
It's all right.
Be like,
You said it's dad money. It's not yours yet. It's not yours yet. It's your dad money. You know what I'm saying? So it's different.
Blame DP because DP has the propensity of continuing to sell.
But it's the truth. Anybody who live in Charleston know that at one time that was the slums.
Right.
And now it's where everybody want to be. I mean, it's hot. I mean, those folks are there. The white folks are there now.
True indeed.
Hey, Dev, my favorite sin that I tell my friends is I barely got a pot to know it in and a window to throw it out.
Hey, Dev, you can tell people I got money. Real talk. You can say whatever. You don't have to cut no words short.
I don't want people to think I'm walking around all this money and tomorrow morning somebody pull a gun on me.
Well, let me explain it. It's Doug's dad's money. It's not Doug money yet. You know what I'm saying?
I understand, Doug. I understand.
And it's still in the ground. Some of the money's still in the ground.
And let me ask you this question, switching gears just a little bit, going back to the hemp farming. What do you plan on doing in terms of products that you're going to be producing from the hemp farming?
Well, my very first year, once I met Harold, he turned me on to these guys at Straight Arrow Hemp Company. And we partnered up on my land. And my first year when I grew the hemp, I did it for seeding purposes, reproduction. So, I had a lot of seeds and, for reproduction. My second year, I did it for flowering purposes. That's smokable hemp. But the state of South Carolina, you would have to, go out of state to sell it, even though the THC level is below 0.03%.
Is that the Delta 8 and the Delta 9?
Yeah.
I was reading something today, and it just popped up on my timeline. It's this Delta 8 and Delta 9. You still can get a little. It's
well, a lot of people, and they say it relaxes them, and a lot of like the CBD oil rub. I've been in a bad car accident in '93, and I use the CBD oil rub for my left shoulder because I got arthritis in it.
Yeah,
but I mean it works. And one thing I do know. Dev, and I sent Delonte some pictures.
Yeah,
we can grow it. I mean, I got plants over 6 foot tall. I mean, beautiful body, nice plants.
Yeah,
but like I said, I just need to, get with the right people to expand it because we got the land, and I can grow it.
Doug, I called you and I was trying to put you on with. But you said you had everything covered, so I'm gonna make that connection again. The same folks that
in South Georgia, right?
Yeah, South Georgia.
Make that connection because I like talking to more than one person. I made a connection to a guy in Athens, Tennessee. When he told me he was in Athens, Tennessee, I'm like, "You mean Athens, Georgia?" No, Athens, Tennessee.
That's redneck. That's redneck.
Yeah. But I'm gonna tell you, man. That I met a guy there, and he kind of put me on.
Yeah.
So the hemp business, because most people don't know what hemp is. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember one time you told me a story that they stole one of your crops. It was a portion of your crops, thinking that they could sell it for weed. You know
It
what I'm
is
saying?
weed.
But they
Hemp,
didn't. It's not the
hemp
smoke.
is marijuana. Hemp is marijuana. It's just that the THC level is 0.03%. You don't get the high from hemp as you get from legal marijuana.
Right.
Yeah.
And trust me, SLED will come out if you're going illegal, and they will destroy that field, and you have to pay them to destroy that field.
Right.
And then not only that, now you disqualify yourself from ever getting a hemp license again. So you got, I mean, it's strict.
Right.
I mean, and they're not playing with it. So, but what I'm hoping, Delonte, within the next 5 or 10 years, it will legalize in South Carolina. Because trust me, South Carolina gonna be the last state to legalize it.
Mm-hmm.
But when they do legalize it, I want to have my foot already in the door. Whereas when they see the name Frederick Fields, they can be like, okay, this guy that had his hemp license for 15, 20 years. He never break no laws. We
Right.
gonna issue him a license.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you thinking that 5, 10 years, you want them to legalize weed so you can just have a dispensary?
Yeah. Answer me this, and I always ask people this question. Tell me, have you ever heard of somebody had a accident because they smoked too much weed? You don't hear DUIs.
Or have you ever heard?
That's why you see so much states legalizing it, because you got people who come back from war,
Right.
And they use it, for relaxation, and like I said, I never used it because of my job, but people use it for for relaxation and for other purposes, and people always tell me, Doug, it works.
Mm-hmm.
So never know. One day when I'm about 60 or 70 and I'm retired, I might try it to see if it really works.
Yeah.
But
I
throw it.
I don't use it, but I have friends that use it, and it seems to work because they use it all the time.
Well, one of the other questions that I always hear asked is similar to that, Doug. Is have you ever seen anybody ready to squabble after they smoke some bud? Probably not. Not like he was drinking.
Never.
He was drinking. Like if he was drinking, you got one of those people, they'd be ready to squabble. But you never see that when you are smoking the herb. So,
from my observation, I observed 3 things.
Yeah.
When people smoke weed, either they want to sleep, they want to eat,
Mm-hmm.
and they be in a relaxation mode.
But when you're talking about the Southeast, Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina, I wouldn't even, Florida may be a little bit more progressive. In North Carolina, it's more about the control of Black folks and putting these little charges on young kids because of weed possession or whatever. And then now they're in the system, and now that they can't get federal jobs, they can't even get federal student loans because they have this charge on them. And now they're in the system, and they got to pay this probation. And now their life is like made a left turn,
Right.
and it's mostly young Black kids. You know what I'm saying? It's not because even from back in the day, if you get caught with crack versus cocaine, what the white boys will have, the Black dude who get caught with crack is getting, especially in South Carolina, 10, 20 years, when the white boy who got maybe, whatever amount of cocaine on him that he caught, and he's getting probation. One is because of his financial situation, and 2 is because of his skin color,
Right.
and 3 is because we make more money putting this Black guy in jail because jail is privatized. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
That's how they make their money.
But Delonte, you and Deb know we as a Black race, we still have a long way to go.
Yeah.
And that's why, I always talk to my kids, talk to my family. If I made it, Delonte made it. If I made it, my boy Pete made it. If I made it, my family made it. If I made it, my kids made it. You got to reach back and bring somebody along, and bring several along. If I made it, my frat brothers made it. You know, we are so, I got the Bentley, I got the Benz. You know, you broke, but how my dad taught me, who have you helped?
Right.
My dad 80, and I could say, if I had to speak at my dad's funeral, I would say he helped people.
Right.
Sometimes I used to ask my dad, well, why you help that person? You really don't know that person like that. You know, my dad said, because you know, I'm in, my stature, and I can help them. You know, I can go to this bank and ask them to help this person, and that's what my dad do a lot.
Right. Hold on. So we got the question that came up, but I think we asked that one already in terms of well, let's dive a little deeper into it. You already talked about the hemp products that you actually were going to be producing from year 1 to year 2 to year 3.
Mhm.
Talk more about what the market is for hemp.
Now, right now in South Carolina, because we only can farm at 0.03%,
Mhm.
the market is more. A lot of people, doing CBD oil, which that market is almost, to me,
Saturated, you think?
saturated.
Okay.
So, I'm trying to, I'm in that market and I'm doing the smoking flower, but also there's a market coming for industrial hemp. Now, when I say industrial hemp,
Uh-huh.
I'm talking about the hemp stock. You have BMW in Greer,
Uh-huh.
South Carolina.
Uh-huh.
You have Volvo in Charleston. You
Right.
have Boeing in Charleston. They're using hemp stock that they mill down to almost dust, and they put in a headrest. A lot of
Mhm.
headrests are used, but this market, they're getting their hemp from out of state or overseas. So
Right.
this is what I'm hoping. Once in South Carolina, the doors open, 'cause like I said, we got a big farm. Once the doors open, and if I can get my foot in that door, because the name of the game, Dev and Delonte, is to get at the table.
Right.
Yeah.
So much deals are done without black folks because we are not at the table.
That's
If I can
interesting.
get at the table, if I can get at the table and show the people I got the land, I
Yep.
can grow it, I can harvest it.
Mhm.
Just give me a chance.
Mm.
Let me get at the table.
I love it.
And that's what I'm doing. And Delonte, me and Delonte used to talk about banks. He used to talk about, you know what, I can buy so many property, but I can't get this loan XYZ. We used to spend late nights. We have a bottle. We might be sitting, and we just chopping it up about
Right.
what we can do if we just given the opportunity. Right
Right.
around Delonte.
Yeah. Right. All the
If
time.
if we can, and it's not just me and Delonte, it's other black folks out there who's watching this. If we just given the opportunity, we can do so much more. We just need the opportunity.
I
Because
feel you.
like I tell people, I work for the railroad, and it pays my bills. And it's got my retirement. But Dev, I was raised in a family. Like I tell you, my uncles, my dad, you never have one stream of income.
Right. Right.
If you talk to any of my daughters, they think their daddy rich. I'm not rich.
They might be
I,
right. They might be right.
I just try to provide for them.
Yeah. No,
You know,
I, I get
I
that.
try to have the needs. And like I always tell my kids, Delonte and Dev, you get once twice a year. You get once birthday, you
Yep.
get once Christmas.
Yep.
The rest of the year you get needs. Don't come
Right.
to me and say you want this, because you only get once twice a year.
Right.
Birthday and Christmas. And and that's how my father was with me. My father, like, why do you want this? You got enough shoes, you got enough clothes. You just want it because other people have it,
Right.
And at the time I really didn't understand what my dad was talking about. I'm like, you go to school, everybody's styling and profiling. I want style and profile too.
Mhm.
Yeah,
No,
y'all,
no,
y'all had uniforms.
that's true.
When you talk about that, y'all had uniforms. They had the ugly, the white and the green pants. Now,
Green plaid pants. But I'm talking away from the uniforms.
Yeah.
Like I said, but as I get older, and I got kids of my own, and I got kids in their 20s,
Uh-huh.
and and I start talking to them, and I see what my dad was talking about, and I learned to appreciate it. I lost my mom when I was 23 years old. My mom had an aneurysm and died. She went to sleep one night and just didn't wake back up.
Right.
So she never seen the man that I amounted to. But I try to make sure my dad don't want for nothing.
That's dope.
Yeah, does it get on my nerve handling all this business when sometimes he can handle it? Yeah, but at least I know what's going on because I get all the emails. I know, okay, if something happened to dad, okay, X, Y, Z. Because I got the emails. I know what's going on in his life. I'm not lost.
That's
And,
what's up.
so when I tell my dad to get the iPhone or the Android, and he tells me, no, that's what I got you for. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
He telling the truth though. He never lie.
Yeah.
Real talk. Yeah. Real talk with DP and Dev. Thank you everybody for joining, and thank you for everybody for listening. And as we know, this is an interactive show that we got, man. So we got a couple more questions that just came in. This is going to be a 2-part question, but I do want to ask this first, as we stay in the same vein of having multiple streams of income. So a question came in talking about, can somebody be an investor with you or be their own investor? If so, what's the process?
That's your boy Kevin Hollington too.
No, that's his brother Mark, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that's Kev.
That's Kev?
Kev.
Well, Kev.
His first name is Marcus. You know what I'm saying? I call him Kev.
Okay. Well, Kev, me and you can go into business because, one thing you got, Kev is on top of the rib game. Kev owned the rib game and the food game. So, Kev, if you want me to invest in a food truck, I'm down.
He talking about the hemp. He ain't talking about his food truck.
I think he wants to know how to get down with you on the hemp.
But he appreciated the fact that you will put your money behind him.
Well, Dad, what's going on with the hemp? Like I tell a lot of people, because I even have family members and fraternity brothers and friends. I always tell them, let me master this game. So, Dev, let's say you invest $1,000 with me. You don't want me to give you that $1,000 back. You want that and some. So let me master this game. So if when I do take investors, I can capitalize and give you back, capital gains and help you along and be like, okay, Dev, we make X, Y, Z, out your $1,000, here's $2,200 back. Right now, I'm still new in the game because right now everybody think that I'm making a bag of money, but they don't realize I'm still learning. The only advantage I got is my family got the land and I know how to grow.
Well, I mean, that's a pretty good advantage.
Yeah. I mean, you got 100 acres out there. You know what I'm saying? That's different.
Kev also said he'll be calling you too, so just be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, Mark is hollering too.
Calling.
Yeah, Kev got my number.
That's what's up. So what about so let's say somebody like me who wants to get into the game to start. Is my first step to find land before I even consider applying for a license?
No, your first step, because they're gonna do a background. If you apply for a license, they're gonna know, see what they do. They got inspectors. You just can't say I want a license. They want to know are you gonna do a greenhouse grow?
Right.
Are you gonna do outside grow? You gotta explain all this to them.
Okay.
And they're gonna send people out to make sure what you're saying is factual.
Okay.
They just don't handle these permits. Like I told you the first time, and you know how much people in the state of South Carolina. Mm-hmm. First time they had 20 permits. 20. Mm-hmm. We got millions of people here. And first time I got denied, but then Governor McMaster issued 10 more permits.
Right.
And when I put down Fields Farm, I guess they realized, this farm been in existence for over 70 years. We know this is a legit farm.
True.
When they come out and they look at it, I have no problem. Inspectors know it because they come out to inspect my uncle's, other vegetation that he grows.
Right, but that's what I'm saying, Doug. Like,
So
what if I don't have the land? You know what I'm saying? Like, do I necessarily need And to start.
No,
Like,
you don't need land. You can buy a 10 by 10 little greenhouse.
Okay, got you. Okay.
It don't have to be in the ground. It could be in pots, but you just gotta already have it set up so when they come, you can be like, okay, this is my greenhouse. You know, I'm starting out with maybe 20 plants, and this is what I'm doing here. But you need a license for it.
All right.
Now,
So
how do you have the plants if you don't have the license yet? Can you plant before you get the license?
no, oh no. You need
You gotta have the setup first. Like
you
this
got
is
to
what
have the setup. So you got to
Right.
have the greenhouse in place and everything to show them this is what I'm growing at.
Okay, I got it.
So let me ask you this, Doug. Everybody can't or don't want to be on the farming end of it, of the growing end of it. What's the next process? Because the dude, and me and Dev going to take a trip down to a man, Reggie. And the reason and how I got in communication back with Reggie when we were trying to get the turkeys for the turkey giveaway for Thanksgiving, Reggie used to be a manager used to manage at Walmart. So I called him. I'm like, yeah, I need, so we need what, 500 turkeys or
Right.
whatever it is.
About 500.
So I'm like, yeah. And then he was like, yeah, I don't do that no more. I'm down here in Valdosta, South Georgia somewhere. And he's hemp, what I'm saying, CBD oil. And he's opening up a store. When I talked to him, he's opening up a store on site.
On the farm.
On the farm.
On the farm. Right.
Yeah. So they were going to sell products out of the store too. So all right, we got you growing it, you harvesting it, and you sending it to some type of refinery or something like that?
Well, for the oil, I have like I told y'all in Athens, Tennessee, I met a guy that turns the plants into oil. Yeah, and then once you do that, you can turn it into salve for rub. And it all depends on how much CBD you put into it. I know you all see sometime it got like 600 milligrams or 1200. That's how much CBD oil is into that product. If you buy something like 1200 milligrams, it might run you $120. Saying 600 might run you 80. That's how much CBD is put into that product. And I say that because even though I got 3 years, believe it or not, I'm still learning.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm still learning along the way. I'm not a cannabis expert yet. Now, maybe 5 or 10 years from now, like I said, this year makes year 3 that I got my license to grow it, and I'm still learning. Because I have people ask me that all the time. People come in, well, how much money you made? And our people. And I'm like, I tell them, I'm still learning. What pays my bills is real estate and CSX. I'm hoping the CBD game bust wide open. It's hemp, it's hemp bust wide open. So once I learn it, because Delonte, and I'm gonna call his name right off the back, Pete, like, man, Fields, let me invest with you. Like, Pete, I do not want to take your money because I don't know what kind of return you get.
Yeah. This your boy right here. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Pete, you need to be on the show.
Pete think he got more time. You know what I'm saying? Everybody think he got more time.
Dev, Pete need to be on the show. You talking about somebody who's successful in business. He graduated from South Carolina State, and I always tell him, I always admire him. Pete graduated from State, never worked for nobody, owned several houses, several pieces of property. I mean, he did it the right way.
He building a house right now. Right
by the old house that he sold.
Yeah, right by the old house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And Pete told me, but I told Pete, I don't think I can find the old house to go look at it. But, Pete is successful. I mean, I'm proud of him, man. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, Delonte.
I appreciate it. I'm proud of you, Doug.
Y'all doing it.
Big shout out to Pete as well, man.
Yeah, Pete got a beauty supply store. He sells hair, but he's bald headed. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, Pete, how do you get these styles and you bald?
Yo, man. Ain't that right?
Well, your head bad, boy. Your head
Hey,
bad.
so we had another question come in as well, man. My assumption as well was that you are selling the oil to the public, or are you distributing the oil to another company?
I will be selling oil to the public in the
Okay.
fall of 2021. In the fall of this year, I will be selling
That's
my
what's up.
personal oil.
So are you gonna be in the store? Or are you gonna have? Cause y'all got a market down here.
We have a market on the farm, and my
Mm-hmm.
uncles go to different markets downtown. I think I'm gonna start with the family and let them start off selling it before I open it up to other stores.
All right, so Doug, you being a little bit bashful and you trying to hold back, but they got a whole farm, right?
Yep.
And then they got a market, and then they got a lot of land that Doug used to throw festivals, I was in concerts on, and you know what I'm saying? Oh, it's like in the country, you know what I'm saying? Like you in the country, you in the farm, and then he got the DJs, the music, all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, pre-COVID, me and a young lady, a very popular DJ around here named DJ Ish.
Yeah.
And, shout out to DJ Ish and Belinda Parker. We threw 3 concerts. The first concert we had an artist, all of it is Southern Soul. We had an artist on the farm called Big Roy Williams. And we probably did about 600 people. The next concert we had an artist by the name of Miss Jody, and we probably did about 800 people there. And then the last concert we had an artist by the name of Lacey. It was me, DJ Ish, and Belinda Parker. And then when we had Lacey, we had over 1,000 people. It's right on the farm. And every time I see my church people, they always ask me when I'm gonna do something else.
Yeah, church people.
Because I cater to 30 and over crowd.
Right.
I look for something to do. So I haven't, the concert hasn't stopped, but due to COVID, it stopped.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do another concert. I'm gonna get with Ish and DJ Ish and Belinda Parker again, and we do something again.
No, man, listen, we can do a show on location then.
Yeah.
Matter
of fact, I do a show and y'all could broadcast live.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, we do it on location.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
So Doug, we need to talk about this other part too.
But Delonte, you're telling folks a little bit too much about me.
I told you.
No, this is not about you. This is other conversation. Nothing about it is about, but it's not about you personally. Yeah. And I'm talking about your dad, not you.
Let's keep going. We want to have more guests come on the show.
So we want to talk about black banking. You know what I'm saying? Most people think that because they open up a bank account or a checking account with the black bank and they got their direct deposit going over there, that's actually helping the bank. But because of the disparity on the funds that a Wells Fargo have in their possession versus a small black bank having their possession is totally lopsided. So explain how black folks can actually help a black bank and what products make your money.
That's a good question.
What help us out if you put money in the bank and you borrow against your own money? People don't think of that.
Something like a secure credit card.
Yeah, we have some well-to-do black people in Charleston who would put money in the bank and they will lend their money out. They will let people borrow against their money to help the black. And that's how you can help a black bank. If you put money in and borrow, let's say somebody, get a stimulus, it's $1,400. Don't blow it. Put it in the bank. Borrow $500 against that $1,400. You still got the $1,400, but you borrow $500 against you helping this bank, and you helping yourself, and you building your credit along the way.
Now, I'm sorry. Let me ask you. So, how does that actually work, though? Like your money's in the bank, and do you go in the bank and say, "Hey, look, I want to borrow against my own money," instead of taking it out? Is that how that works?
Let's say, Dev, you need some money. Let's say I got X amount of dollars in the bank.
Yeah.
You said, Doug, my credit kind of shaky, but I trust you. I can call the bank and be like, I call the young ladies at the bank and be like, I'm saying, this young guy over there, Dev, let him borrow $2,000 against my money. You borrow against him, you got to pay that note, but we also helping the bank, and it's secure. You know,
Yeah.
you're going against my money. A lot of that don't go on. What I noticed in my years at the credit union, because we help a lot of people who don't have that.
You all right, Doug?
Oh, I try to see something. Hold on.
You on the major, but this ain't CBS.
I'm about to say, you do know we live, good brother. So we see all the snaps and everything.
This ain't CBS or ABC.
All right, sorry about that. Yeah, somebody called.
Hey, you talking about your old man? Yeah, you need help too. No, with technology.
So you were saying about borrowing the money, keeping the bank basically going.
Yeah. Bob, what I noticed, a lot of people will come.
You got something going on, Doug.
Hold on, Doug. Hold on. We can't hear you, good brother. Hold on. You got some movement going on. We're having a hard time hearing you.
We good now. Go ahead.
Y'all can see me now. Y'all can hear me.
Yeah, we good. We good
can
now.
hear you. Yes, sir.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
You good money. You good money. Let's keep it going.
All right. Now, what I was saying, my experience of being on the board of the bank for 17 years, we have a lot of people come there and they will put in $50 and they want to borrow $30,000 because they got this business idea. But you got to realize we're a small bank. We deal with a lot of people who can't go to the Wachovias, who can't go to the Wells Fargos and get money.
Uh-huh.
And we take chances on people, but we can't give you that $40,000 or $50,000 to start that business because the size of bank we are. And I noticed we have a lot of upset people with it. Like that's why I don't bank with the black bank. I'm trying to help y'all, but you can't do that to a white bank.
Right.
So how you can help us a black bank start off small. I've noticed we have helped people who came to us who bought a car with a finance rate of 20%.
Yeah.
Because what people don't realize, and a lot of people, especially our people, they don't as long as they get a car, they don't care. You might get a $5,000 car, 28%. When you finish for a car that's worth $5,000, and you finish, you pay $15,000 for a car. Mm-hmm. So we noticed that a lot of financial institutions take advantage of our people. So we will refinance it, and we might give you a 12%, but a 12% is still high, but it's better than paying that 28%.
Gotcha.
So we lower your costs, and we take chances on people. Buddy, Federal Credit Union still on Spring Street, and if you can, go open up an account. Go open up an account there, and
But now, do you prefer them open up a regular check-in where their direct deposit going from their weekly or bi-weekly job, or a savings account where you don't have to touch that for another month, 2, 3, 4 months until a holiday or something like that?
Right.
Say that again, Delonte.
Which one do you prefer? A regular check-in where the check is going in and they drawing down on it every week, or you prefer them having a savings account where even if you just putting in $50 or $100 a week, you're not touching that money for another 6 months to a year?
But if you're just putting the money into the bank and on not touching it, the bank is not really doing, making nothing. We want you to borrow against your money.
Yeah.
Borrow against your money.
So two questions coming in.
I'm watching now.
Yeah, this is getting good. So first one is dealing with percentages. Shout out to Big D also. So what is the rule of thumb, or what is the percentage above what you have in the bank that is safe for you when you're applying for a loan?
That's a good question.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna take a hypothesis on this one, an educated guess.
All right.
If you got 10,000 in the bank, to be safe, a bank may loan you about 30,000. Mm-hmm. That's just a guess, Big D. As a matter of fact, give me a call too, Big D. I ain't talked to you in a while.
Yeah. He also asked, do your bank do business accounts?
Yeah, we do small business accounts.
Let me let me add on to that question, because a lot of credit unions, man, you gotta give all type of paperwork, and then damn near give your firstborn in order for you to be able to get a business account, as opposed to some of these regular institutions. You may need a couple of things only to open a business account up. So what is the requirements that you may need to open up a business account at your credit union?
And me dealing with a small bank, and like I said, I'm taking a guess at this because we don't have, we deal with like a lot of people who can't go to other banks. Usually people who have good credit goes to the bigger.
Yeah.
Usually people who
live real talk with DP and Dev. It's real things going on right now.
What you going on?
No, we get at the bank. No, seriously. Usually people who got good credit and got good stuff. They don't bank with the small black banks. They bank with the Wells Fargo's and the Wachovias and the Bank of America.
Yep.
And that's why I'm kind of hung up on that question.
Okay.
Well, I can say this. You know what I'm saying? Even because I went to open up an account at Wells Fargo yesterday. You gotta have EIN number. You gotta have your Secretary of State information, a driver license, and if you bank with the bank, your telecard. It's gonna be the basic stuff that most. But sometimes smaller banks want a little bit more because they want to know that you just not come to them and trying to take advantage of them because they don't have the resources to do the research based on. And I understand that. But Doug, tell us the products that actually make black banks money, because again, just coming in, opening up an account don't help the bank per se. You know what I'm saying? It gives them more revenue. But if you take the money out next week.
One of the things CO Federal Credit Union do on Wednesdays, we go to the Long Sherman Hall and cash the guys' checks. You'll be amazed. A lot of guys don't have direct deposit, and a lot of guys don't have a banking account. So that's what
long short.
Long Sherman.
We say that a little different down south. You know what I'm saying? You say that way up north. We said Long Sherman.
I mean, say how you want. I'm just telling you what it is.
Yeah, I was saying, because for them, they wanted the high dollar jobs in Charleston.
Okay.
And for them not to have banking relationships, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Doug, some of our boys, a bunch of our boys work for them, man.
Yeah, we have a lot of friends and family members that are longshoremen in Charleston.
Okay, that's what's up. There was a question that came in, and I've always understood the difference between the two is basically based off of different like rates, like for loans and credit cards and stuff like that, between a standard proper bank institution and a credit union. But for somebody who is actually in the business, what's the difference between the two?
Say it again.
What's the difference between the two, like a regular standard proper bank and then a credit union?
Well, a credit union's members, whereas, they cater to their members versus a bank. That's why I call it a credit union. You pay X amount of dollars to become a member of that bank.
Okay.
So a credit union, in my understanding, is I've always been told that you get a better rate at a credit union because this, that, and the other. But major banks have more cash and more discretion. So they and we don't want to get the conversation twisted. It's not about bank versus credit union. It's about us helping black banks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So whatever city you're in, we need you to go out and research whatever black banks, credit unions, or whatever is in your area. And you know what I'm saying? If you got a $500, stick it in your savings account, and then get a little credit card. You know what I'm saying?
Currently, there are 44 Black-owned financial institutions.
So that means there's not one in every state.
Right. That includes, banks and credit unions. What we'll do is we'll make sure to put the list on our pages so that people can see where they at and what state they're in.
Doug,
Yeah, go ahead.
you got a lot going on over there.
Hey, listen, before we wrap up, man, first we want to say we appreciate you, Doug, for even coming on and taking the time to chop it up with us. How can people find you if they have any more questions?
I can be reached at, I'll give you my email address. My email address is fdfields1@gmail. Or you can reach me on Facebook, F Douglas Fields on Facebook.
What does the F stand for?
Frederick.
Because on what's that show with the teddy bear? The movie with the teddy bear?
What movie are you talking about?
The white movie with the teddy bear. There's two parts to it.
Yeah,
So Ted.
Yeah, Ted.
Oh, okay.
It was an F Chuck something.
Yeah. Yeah, the F stand for Frederick. Everybody who calls me Frederick either went to school, went to either middle or high school with me, but all my friends and family call me Dougie.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man. You know what I'm saying? I love you, Playboy, and shout out to Drea and the baby boy. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm gonna tell you, I don't understand why y'all wanted me on the show. I'm just a nobody. Trying to tell everybody about somebody.
Yeah. That's what all the major players say.
Yeah.
So that's the shroud of secrecy that they want to keep. So I get it. That's good. I dig it.
Your dad did something amazing when he had you. You know what I'm saying? And he's still doing it. You know what I'm saying? So we wanted you as an extension of your pops. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that we educate some Black folks out here. You know what I'm saying? Because we want them to understand that anything is possible.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
But like I said, I want to end this by telling people, first of all, stay humble. I mean, I don't care if you got $1 billion. Stay humble.
Right.
And number two, be helpful.
Yeah.
Help somebody financially, but help somebody. Make a difference in somebody's life. Whether it's your family, a stranger, or even your kids. Just try to make a difference.
That's what's up, Doug.
That's all I try to do. I try to stay back in the corner, quiet, tucked away.
That's what's up, man. And on that note, I need to end it. For those who stayed on, I know we was a little bit longer, but that's cool. We appreciate you staying on. To all the real ones, we appreciate that. Make sure you subscribe to our channels. We are on YouTube. We are on Facebook. We are on IG. All of them at Real Talk with DP and Dev. DP, you got any more to say?
Yeah, Doug, we really appreciate it. You know my A1 from day one. I was saying so. We really appreciate you frat. You know what I'm saying? South Carolina State alumni, HBCU.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
South Carolina State.
Johns Island, Walmart Island, you ain't go to St. You ain't had the privilege of going to St. John's, but we'll forgive you for that.
Okay.
So look, man.
But like I tell Pete Delonte, I'm the mayor of River Road. Self-proclaimed mayor of River Road.
Well, all right, man.
That's what's up, man.
We appreciate that, man. And for those who are still on, again, thank you. And before we go, as I always end it, all that you do it with positivity, creativity, and authenticity. This is Real Talk with DP and Dev. Peace, beautiful people.
Peace.